Welcome back to the Mr. Nate Books podcast. I am your host and author, Mr. Nate. Today I'm talking about the brand new children's book, A Pigsty Oh My, How Kids Clean Their Room. This children's book was published this year, just a couple months ago in January of 2022. This is our third season, my third season starting this podcast, and I try to do a couple episodes at least each year, but basically an episode to each book if I'm able to. And so this year we have two brand new children's books, A Pigsty Oh My being the first one. Then there's an Easter book that has come out. I will do a podcast on that here this next month. And then there are some chapter books coming up, and it's more comical chapter books. And then also the Elijah's Journey series is also going to have chapter books for it. So you will have options to do chapter books as well as the full illustrated versions of it, which is great. So at older ages, they'll be able to just hold a book and just read, and the other ones will have the full illustrations. But today, it's addressing a pretty typical issue throughout life. Have you ever had a kid, or were you that kid that had a messy room, a messy household, messy apartment, a messy flat, a messy home? Wherever that child is, wherever you are, maybe you were that child some years back, and wherever you were like a tornado. You were maybe irresponsible or lackadaisical, lazy, procrastinating, or maybe you just didn't know. You just weren't considerate. You hadn't been trained yet or aware. There's all sorts of reasons for messiness, and sometimes it's just a hard, difficult life. There are sometimes in life for families, it could be a single mom, single dad, it could be grandparents trying to help out. There's all sorts of dynamics that happen that could really put pressure on time and energy and so much more. And so this book is meant to be a light-hearted but still in-depth, respectful, fun, loving book of the relationship, in the pictures at least, between a mom and her son. Now, this dynamic of a relationship can be anyone, right? It could be from a teacher to his or her students. It could be a grandparent to the grandchildren or great-grandchildren. No matter what it is, it's catching that idea that whatever is happening, that child has become a pig in the pigsty. They've created an environment of a pigsty. Now, they might have learned that from their parents or family members or friends, but nonetheless, it's become an issue that you got to address. So how are you going to address it? Now, you could try to repeatedly remind them. That could be a type of discipline. In Hebrew, in the Bible's Old Testament, the word discipline is synonymous to instruction. So discipline is not always a bad thing or something that, hey, go to your room, or here's your timeout, or whatever it might be. But discipline includes the idea of receiving or giving instruction that guides practical life. It might include doctrinal, biblical, truthful, godly things. It could just include a natural truth that God has implemented into the world, cause and effect. Do this and it might give you pain. Give this and it might give you some joy, right? You can eat the fruit of your labor. That could be a literal fruit if you're a farmer, or it could be maybe use some money that you earned. But either way, you're learning in this world that there's a need to be responsible, to be a steward, to care, to be considerate. But also this world and this life is not easy. And so what do you do? How do you address it? And so in your discipline, you just, hound your child. You just repeat 10 times in about 30 seconds. Clean your room. Why don't you clean your room? Why da-da-da-da-da? It just keeps going. Now you as a parent or a teacher just become a repeat offender on not really giving the healthy discipline. It's good to give instruction. Hey, clean your room. That's more of a command instruction. But nonetheless, is there different ways you can go about it? And so maybe when you give your instruction, maybe you can follow up with consequences. But this book is trying to give you a tool or a resource for that situation. That you can have a book in front of you, that you can be together with your kid or kids or grandkids or whoever it might be, your students. And you can now open this up. And it's meant to be a short, rhythmic instruction book. As if it's not, though. It's to be a book that's fun in its illustrations. It's engaging. And when immediately with a cover, when kids see it, they see a funny little pig boy and they see little creatures. You know, my 6-year-old, a little boy, he started looking at that cover and he thought he was laughing at the pig boy and the flies and all the mess. And then he was like, Dad, look at that fox, you know? And it's like you look at the creature, it could be a fox, it could be a different animal. But it's meant to cause that kid to be interested of, oh, what is this book about? Sometimes books can have a kind of a dry instructional manual feel to it, and I'm okay with those, right? But I think to help engage kids, sometimes it's helpful to bring them to a lightheartedness, bring the heavy, maybe irresponsibility or heavy situation to a lighthearted moment. Sometimes that unlocks their abilities to listen, or not listen in this case, and now begin to listen. When you open up this book, I've provided a dedication. It says, "From our family to yours, have fun cleaning your room." It can be an actual fun thing, right? But it's not always. I understand. My wife understands with our kids. You know, we have 7 kids, boys and girls. And then it says, "To our kids, we love our piglets, just not the pigsty." Now, it's from our heart to theirs. When we talk to them, we share with them how we can be pigs and pigsties, right? So they understand they're not alone or isolated or the only one, that they're genuinely just growing up, and this is part of their maturing process, right? What do you do with the stuff of life, the time of life, the schedules, the pressures? So when you get to that first page, it begins with a question, and I love that concept where you begin a book by a question, and it really intrigues the brain for the little kids as well as the big kids. Here's the first couple pages. "Is your room clean?" Mom asked. My ears perked up. "Yes, it is." Mom opened the door with a shocked look on her face. She slowly said, "Your room is not clean." Next page. "I looked around. But Mom, it is clean. It is the way it is supposed to be. Don't you see?" Mom sternly stared at me. "You call this clean? How can this be? You should see what I see." And now that's just the beginning few pages that enters the world of perspective, right? You have an adult perspective and a kid perspective. And when you start to flip through the pages, you start to see differences of what the mom sees versus what the kid sees. And so you start to see the dynamic of the bedroom in this situation, and the bathroom, and what had the attention and focus and definition of the kid of everything's clean. You start to see like, oh, this is not clean. And it's not to bring a meanness at all. It's not to try to foster anger or a disgust. It's actually trying to warm that relationship between, in this case, a mom to the boy or parent to the kid, the child. And they can start to see, while reading and looking at these illustrations, oh, my mom sees something different. And as you go through the book, it just simply is the mom pointing out this unclean situation, the pigsty, and it has a lot of fun, laughable moments. And as you flip through it, you get to some really gross parts of it. And you get to the very end, it said, Mom smiled and said, Trust me to see. Listen and learn as it was intended to be. What do? Be my child because I love you. Now clean your room. And what that is meant to do at the very end is to capture the concept of it's not all about the command, clean your room, or completing the task of cleaning your room. The idea is the relationship between parent and child. It's respectful, it's loving, it's humble, right? Humble doesn't mean just a posture or an emotional state. It means willing to listen and receive and then follow through. Pride then is the opposite. It's more of a hardening. I won't listen to you. I'll do what I want to do. And it's a bad stubbornness. So in this case, there is now a loving relationship that has been restored, but still the discipline or the instruction, clean your room, is still there, right? But now there's a new heart, or hopefully a new heart of the mom didn't want to destroy the piglet, but that the mom wanted to instruct the piglet in how to see the world accurately, truthfully, and lovingly. And there's questions, reading questions at the end. In this case, there's 17 of these. And it goes from simple things like, do you like pigs? Do you want to live like a pig? Do you oink like a pig? And, laugh and have fun and enjoy these reading questions. And there's going to be all different varying answers to them, right? You can have a 4-year-old understand pigs and do some snorting, oinking sounds, right? And you can have your 11-year-old be able to, laugh it off, but also some of the in questions. Do your parents love you even when you do not clean? When we can share a frustration even to our kids, but no matter what emotional state we're trying to communicate to them, it has to communicate love. So a sternness can actually communicate love. It's a type of boundary. It's an emotional boundary that becomes visible and that matches the instruction, and failure to follow that instruction. But it's given a skin to the skeletal structure of instruction, right? Clean your room might feel like the bones, but the skin, the muscles, the blood flow make it a malleable, loving, accepting instruction. And that's how God created it. And has your parents told you, I love you? Parents, you better be telling them that, right? And also following up with that. And so there's not just consequences to not doing things, but there's also a type of reward. Not you're going to get ice cream for cleaning, but the reward is the same what started the instruction. I love you. That is the blessing of relationships. So I wouldn't say, manipulate the process. Clean your room and I'll let you play video games. Clean your room and I'll let you have ice cream. Don't motivate kids out of that. Reshape, recommunicate, reestablish, revive that healthy motivation of, since that parent loves you, listen, be humble, respect, and then do. And then as that child grows up, becomes a parent, Lord willing, that they will be able to communicate and do the same thing. But the room situation, a messy pigsty bedroom, is not just that, right? These kids grow up just to be like you. Your age could be 25, 32, 41. It could be 54. Whatever it might be, they're going to grow up and they're going to now parent or teach or instruct. And how are they going to do that? And are they going to steward their life, their office, their cars, their lifestyle? And will they be organized? And why are they organized? Or are they organized because they're stressed, because they remember the stress of the instruction of their parents? Or are they doing it out of love to the Lord, and then love to others, right? So loving one another includes the home life, and we need to do that. I'll end with this. The back cover describes the book as a fun, memorable way for kids to clean their rooms. A subtle rhythm and rhyme with funny pig illustrations in a disastrous room brings sometimes a heated situation to light and a loving solution. Let helpful, healthy instruction motivate kids with love to be responsible. Reintroduce value and virtue into society from the family. Train up children to be respectful to their parents and understand the reasons for chores and character. Let the next generation learn life management and to be focused, undistracted, and completing tasks. Guide them to be caring, considerate, and correctable. Help children live honorably and loving among others beyond their room. And next time, we'll be sharing about the new Easter children's book, A Resurrection Rhyme. The book is called A Mouse in the House on Easter Day, the Resurrection Rhyme for the Greatest Sunday. What a great opportunity to share about the gospel truth of Jesus, the greatest meta-narrative, the greatest theme storyline of the Bible. And that'll be coming this next month. April 10th will be the next episode. So until next time, Mr. Nate out.